Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is Friday, March the 28th of 2025.
Yes.
It's the
It's
this
the
the
end of March
yeah.
already.
Listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed 2025. We've
Right.
had bumps and bruises, right? But hey, we've made it through it.
We made it
Um,
through.
yeah, and I would say that this is the end of the first quarter, or
Hmm.
approaching the end. We've got a couple more days, but if you are a business owner and you're looking to reach those goals, good luck to you. If you've already reached them, congratulations. But it is what it is. But let me go ahead and introduce myself first before we get too far into it, because I know we got some hot topics that we're going to discuss, and we're going to get right into it. I am Keisha. I'm one half of the host of the Regal Mindset podcast show. And Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Joy, the coach, and I am the other half of the Regal Mindset. And let me explain something to you. We got
Yeah.
something to talk about today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the title is You Broke or Naw, right? It was going to be a part
Right.
two, but our guests are not able to join us tonight for whatever reason. But we're going to keep it pushing, right? This is business. We're going to keep it moving. What we're going to kind of pivot and discuss has been in or on our timelines
Hmm.
at least a week, maybe and a half or so, maybe a
Right.
couple weeks, almost 2 weeks. But long enough for us to talk about it. We have not talked about it here on this platform, Regal Mindset, and we want to talk about it, break it down, better understand, and we would love to have your input on the subject. Let's say that, right?
Absolutely. So it's still surrounded about is you broke or no?
Yeah.
But this is a church edition.
Ha.
Because, on all seriousness, that was one of my limiting beliefs that stopped me from becoming a mindset transformer, becoming that millionaire, becoming that person in a financial stance that I am today, right?
Okay.
And it's because of church.
Oh,
Church had
interesting.
such a hold, and it also depends on what type of church you go to, but hopefully I touch almost every denomination out there. So we already know that the Bible, a lot of church uses the scriptures about the love of money is the root of all. First they say money is the root of all evil, but then we're like,
Yes.
that's not what it says. It says the love of money. Then they want to sit there. So that makes you feel like I should not love or want money. Then Jesus was meek and lowly. So I had to be modest in appearance and meek and lowly. Then it was oh, will a man rob God? Yet he has robbed me, and you are cursed with the curse. And it made me fear that if I did not give 10%, like as if I had a gun to my head, that I was just cursed. So I lived under this idea that I was just so horrible in God's eye when it came down to money, and that, oh, I'm gonna wait till I get to heaven. I'm gonna wait till the great by and by. I'm gonna, climb the rough side of the mountain. And I hate that song. Not the people who made it, but it's just the point. Like, why are we climbing the mountain when he told us to speak to it? But going through all of that and then being in a church where you gave $1. If you gave 20, you was asking for change back. You give 100, something you balling. So it was a lot. And I took that, and it's better to give than to receive. And it's like you give. I even see my mom give to the church where we didn't have food. We went through that. And so that whole mindset was so limiting because I didn't think I was worthy of prosperity. And I was taught to almost hate prosperity preachers like Reverend Knight. Oh, he was the devil. And Kenneth Copeland, all of them white ones that preached, money, money, money. Oh, it was bad. And then so that is a big issue, especially in the black church, because compared to white Jesus, they live on the, oh, I got this from the Lord, and I got this in us, and we're struggling with black Jesus. So it's a problem. It's a problem, number one, and it keeps you broke because if I can go back to that scripture, will a man rob God? It comes from the book of Malachi, third chapter. And it says, well, a man robbed God, yet ye have robbed me, and all of that, and the tithe and the offering. You're cursed with a curse, all of that good jazz. But the church had us thinking that that was to us as parishioners, but it wasn't. Because if you go to chapter 2 of that same book, it tells you, O ye priests. It talks about everything that the priest was doing when the people brought their tithe and offerings to the temple, what they were doing, and they was robbing God by taking the tithe and the offering that the people was bringing. And but nobody ever told us to go back to chapter 2. We were stuck on chapter 3. And so with the subject that we're talking about tonight and the what is it, the trending thing about Marvin Sapp, that's where I'm at. Because I seen so many hateful comments. Then somebody even put up that he got arrested for kidnapping. That man didn't get arrested for no kidnapping. And so, and if you haven't seen the video is about him doing a service and he was raising an offering. His goal was what, 40,000, which is doable.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, heck, in our ministry, people give that regularly. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, 40,000. And so the from what I can tell and perceive, people were leaving, which is typical when you ask for money from black folk at church. They're leaving. So he said, close the doors. He didn't say lock you in. He didn't say you better not go nowhere. God gonna kill you when you go outside. None of that. He said close the doors. He said it multiple times because obviously nobody was paying attention to him. Because I can assume that people were getting up and leave after you done consumed the word. You done sat there and heard good music. You had all of these name brand preachers, and you leaving without giving anything.
Hmm.
You won't do a restaurant like that.
Absolutely not.
So everybody's taking this and running with it. And I'm like, he only asked y'all for $20. He said it's 1,000 of y'all online and it's 1,000 of y'all in this building. And I'm asking for $20 each. And then he turned around to the people on the pulpit
Mm.
and said, can you I want you to give $100. $20 and y'all acting like this.
I
So are they broken off?
without saying it, right?
Right.
So again, I don't want to speak for their pockets. What I will say in the video, I'm really glad that we're talking about this because again, you give a different perspective. In the video, it didn't necessarily come across in that way to me. It
Mm-hmm.
came across like a lot of people are saying, like, why is it that pastors, in some ways, they may feel as though they're demanding money or monetary contribution towards whether it's a church fund, a
Mm-hmm.
organ, musician fund, and any number of
Right.
reasons, right, as to why they need to continue to raise this money or raise money and so forth. And right. And I understand that, yes, church is a business, right? So I get that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
everyone doesn't always pay their tithes on time consistently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about money, in terms of tithes, from what I was taught. But so I took it the way that a lot of people are, or most people who are, especially online, in that, here's another pastor, here's yet another pastor who's just giving me the word, who's feeding and nourishing my spiritual, aspect or religious soul. And now that, okay, now we've gotten to the portion of the service where they're asking for money, right? So if I
Right.
have it, fine, I'm sure they would give it, but some of those people may or may not have had it. Now, if they didn't have it, then that's something that
That's something
the
different.
minister or the preachers or whoever need to address those things, right? How do we get our
Right.
congregation so that they can give and give freely, right? And they want to come to church and give and give and give versus us having to keep probe and probe and beg.
Mm-hmm. So I get that. And I'm not, and let me make sure I put a disclaimer. I'm not um covering pastors because to each their own. I only to talk about mine. But what I am saying in the defense of the
Mm-hmm.
church in some aspect, we don't say nothing about the Jewish community and they have their financial obligations every year. They're
Yeah.
required to give certain level of givings based on they wants for the year, not needs, not what
Mhm.
you have. That is a principle. And when we understand that giving is a principle, we can look at giving in a different way. It doesn't even have to be to the church. And like you said, tithe can be in the form of time, it can be in the form of anything. I mean, we're not giving turtle doves, we're not giving rams. So, and right now we're giving money, we're not giving wheat. I'm not out there, I don't have no fruit on the tree to go sacrifice. I have money because that's what I have, and I have time, and I have my efforts as in resource because that's valuable as well.
Mhm.
So you can put it in that aspect. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to the Nation of Islam, they have financial obligations, right? When you have the Jewish community, they have financial obligations. And in our community, we're taught about the teruma. The
Mm.
teruma is the tithe that's specifically for our priest, our pastor, right? But it's only 2.5%. So what is that? $2, $3? So it ain't even that absorbent amount of money. And then you give a tithe to the church to do a work as long as you're able to see the work, because back then they had a building fund and nobody changed the doorknob. I get that. I get that. I've
I
been
got
there
you.
before. But if you see the church actually doing something,
Yeah.
what's the problem?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no matter where you give it, giving is a principle, a universal principle. You can't get around. I don't care who you give it to. I don't care if I give it to you. And we had that conversation. I think it was the young man over the $20 situation. And it was so monumental to him because of how it helped him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Giving is giving. So it doesn't matter. I think it's because it's the church and people put pastors in a certain way. And some of them are screwed up. I
Right.
will say that. But when you understand giving and it's in itself as a principle, for God so loved the world, he gave. It didn't matter what he gave. The fact is, he gave.
Yeah.
And he built us on that same premise. If that's the case, we wouldn't be able to have children.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have strength in our hands and in our bodies to do anything. So giving is a principle. And then I wouldn't want your money grudgingly anyway, because if we are going based off of the Bible, he says God loves a cheerful giver. If you ain't happy about doing it, keep it because it's already in the wrong intention. It's no difference if your wife mad and she give you a plate of food. You're gonna be a little weary about eating that because you're like, okay,
For sure.
I don't know. She trying to take me out. My stomach feeling a little funny, but it's the same idea. And I think if people start looking at giving differently and money differently, and the fact that it is supposed to be given out in order for you to get it back,
Yeah.
that's it. It's a circle. We talk about currency in the
Mhm.
banks. We talk about how currency was derived based off of maritime.
Mhm.
So is it because it's a church? Just like when people get sick, they don't get mad at Buddha, but they get mad at Jesus. Oh, you let my brother die, but you ain't gonna kill Buddha.
Yeah.
I don't go to church not because of this, but if you basing your experience, your reason off somebody else's experience, that's like me saying, well, no, I wouldn't want to be a crackhead because I did see crackheads. But that's like something, and I'm saying I'm not gonna go zip lining. Well, I fear heights. I'm not going zip lining just because that person fell from zip line. That doesn't mean you're gonna fall. You don't even know if
Right.
you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
And maybe I look at it from that perspective of giving as a principle.
Mhm.
And one thing that we can say is that the Jewish community, they uphold that giving, that charity. If you talk with Oprah, any millionaire and billionaire tell you that generosity is number one.
Absolutely.
Charity, philanthropy. So would it matter if it wasn't the church?
True. True. So I hear what you're saying, and again, I appreciate you giving us or offering us a different objective or a way of viewing that. Right. What I don't think so much if it was because of what he was asking for in terms of the
Hmm.
$20. My personal opinion. What I gathered was, and I'm assuming people got in an uproar because they felt as though they didn't have the option or the leisure to leave. But if you think about it from the perspective of what you gave to us, hey, when the end of service, people are leaving, they want to get ahead of traffic. There's a number, they want to go get the kid from wherever,
Right.
I don't, whatever. All of those things are still happening, and perhaps he wanted to make sure that he got his point across, or to make sure that the people who were willing to give were not disrupted by people leaving. So
Right.
it makes sense for him to have done it that way. Maybe he could have said it differently.
I think that's
Um,
it. Maybe he could have said, say,
yeah,
hey, we're taking up offering. Could you give us a few moments?
right,
Don't leave. Just give us a
right.
second. So I can go with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it came across a little bit as if, okay, now you forcing me to stay here, and you're forcing me to now give. I may or may not have that, right?
Hmm.
But when the way it came across, or the way he communicated that, made it seem as if I didn't have the option to leave, right? So
Right.
basically, you're holding me hostage here in these church walls, and now you're on top of that, you're forcing me to give. That's the way it kind of came across, right?
Right.
And to your point, I'm glad, again, that we're having this conversation, but I also want to pivot just quickly here,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for a moment. In a way, a lot of what we do with Regal Mindset, and when we come on here week after week after week, right?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of times we have a lot of engagement. There's, we've got people sharing and content on, it's going back and forth, and so on and so. We have great feedback, right? We in our own way are giving to the people, right? And then they
Right.
give back to us in terms of what it is that they love about the show, how they miss it, how they love the content, the banter between you and I, and the subject matter experts that we bring on. So
Right.
I want to say to both of us, let's give us our flowers, because we deserve that, right? We don't often
Exactly.
give ourselves enough credit for the things that we do on a week in, week out basis, right?
Absolutely. I
So
100%
I just
agree.
want, absolutely, I want to pause right here and say thank you all for those people who do give us the positive feedback, and who do tune into the Regal Mindset podcast show week in after week out. Who
Hmm.
do support us on
Absolutely.
YouTube, who support us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of our platforms, TikTok, Instagram, fan base, everybody who supports us. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
letting us
you.
know that we are on the right path. Thank you. But to get back to our other scheduled program, I didn't want to miss that. It came to me earlier,
Right. Right.
and I didn't, have the chance to be able to acknowledge that. Okay. Hey, Devin. Made people to come.
Even me.
He made people come up to the front and give. So I didn't hear that part, but
But
uh,
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
because that would be normal, right? But the
Maybe
mentioning,
that's it. If it, to me, it's normal. Like,
right?
why not? I mean, first of all, I'm gonna go give because I am a student of giving. I want to go present. It's not to him. It's
Yeah,
not even to the person that's preaching. It's to what I'm going to give. I'm going to lay my gift at the altar in the hands. That's just maybe that's it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I understand people from an aspect, but I don't mind releasing money either
Right,
because it's going to come right back.
right.
And just again, even if you don't believe in the Bible, if you don't, and that's fine. But one thing that you can say is very universal is God, love, and money. Those are the most three universal things.
Mm,
In every religion and every culture, God is number one. Well, no matter what you call him, he's still there.
yeah.
Love is always the center of every religion, even atheism.
Mm,
They may not believe that a God exists, but they love everybody that is connected with them. They consider themselves family.
okay.
Then you got money. So if we take church off of it, I think
Hmm.
we'll probably be getting a different, people will have a different perspective if we took
Right.
church and pastor off of, because we have had some pastors that has really was really dogmatic and really not good with the money and took the money. I get that.
Yeah. A lot of
And
church
I'm
hurt.
not protecting them. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
church hurt. But again, ain't nobody saying nothing about the white Jesus pastors. It's always the black ones.
Hmm.
You mad that Creflo Dollar asked for a jet. You mad. But Creflo Dollar had money before he became a pastor. Everybody really want to do their due diligence.
Okay.
The guy who owned Bonner Brothers, the hair products,
Uh-huh.
he's a pastor.
Okay.
They used to do the Bonner Brothers show, and he looked absolutely amazing for his age too. That hair
Uh-huh.
is slick. He
Okay.
got the soul glow. But it's like a lot of these people had money way before they got to that level. A lot of people just may not have known that.
Okay.
So it's like, again, I get it. I understand it. But being a person from church, I look at it from a different perspective. I'm going to go take it up there. It doesn't bother me. He asked for $20. Now, if he
Yeah.
said, I need 1,000 people to give me $1,000 right now, we would have had a problem because everybody ain't got 1,000.
Yeah.
Everybody might have not had 20. He said the goal is 40. There's 1,000 people online. There's 1,000 people here. I'm asking for everybody to give 20. And if you couldn't, go give your $5 and move on. He wasn't
Yeah.
talking to you. He was trying to reach a goal. Hey, Miss Marilyn Monroe.
Hello, Marilyn. Yeah,
And
no,
so, yeah, that's it.
yeah, no, I agree. I think there is some hypocrisy in terms of, I don't why people insist on calling me and they know I'm lying.
Well,
But
normally
I
we're
do.
at 7.
That's
So,
true. That is true.
yeah,
And I
normally
don't
we're
know
at
who that
7.
number is. There must be somebody calling who a warranty of some sort is about to expire. They always get you with that. But anyway, so yes, I think there is some hypocrisy in terms of discuss around money and ministers, right?
Hmm.
Blacks versus whites. And then for whatever reason, I also think that that comes from the distrust that people have and discomfort from being misled from the black churches, right? That's
Okay.
not to say that the white churches don't. I'm not saying that. I can only speak
Right.
to my experiences, and I've not been to a white church or a mega church or what have you. But what I'm saying is that they often associate,
Crooked.
ministers, pastors, bishops. There was one just passed away, just got shot by a female in Memphis.
Oh, that was a good
No.
story.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened there, but I keep getting people
I
send
saw
me
the
stuff all
video.
the time. Yeah. But and that's still questionable. But around money, I always feel like, me personally, I'm gonna give to according to what my heart
Your
says to
ability.
give.
That's it.
Absolutely, right? And what they do with those funds or that money is out of my control. No different from if I give the gentleman that you spoke about earlier $20. He could have went and bought what a number of things with 20. Well, I'm assuming with
Yeah.
$20, but he chose to use it for whatever he needed it for. It is not up to me to figure out what that is after I give it to you.
Is that not only that, we don't even have a say where our taxes go at. So we
True,
can't control everything.
true.
Now, and then if we let's go back to a good point that you brought up about, just the differences and the hypocrisy.
Mhm,
And again, white versus black, it is what it is.
mhm.
But I can't think of that white man name. He's an older white preacher, very charismatic. He's a prosperity preacher. He's back in Kenneth Copeland moments.
Okay.
All he preach about is, I got the biggest house in Texas.
Ah.
My chandelier takes up 3 rooms. That's all he talks about when he preaches, and ain't nobody complain. Not one of his people got on here and say, that man took my money, because what they're doing is giving into a system that they believe is going to help them be prosperous. We as black people feel that if I'm not getting it right now, my belief is, I give it to you now, I want it back now.
Okay.
So their level, they're taught in a different way of giving. You don't when Noel Joel Osteen get up there. Let's just thank God. When ain't nobody say nothing, when his wife was cussing everybody out on that plane and getting drunk, it ain't stop his money. He went and had to go get a bigger church.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody say nothing about that. But then yet and still, Creflo Dollar, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, he asked for a jet, everybody go crazy. But if Joe Osteen would ask for a jet, nobody wouldn't said anything.
Yeah.
But then let's take it a little bit further. Back in the evangelistic days, I'm talking about, and I'm going way back. I'm talking about
Okay.
the 70s and 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's where I'm gonna take it to.
Okay.
You had the Jim Jones, the white man that took all them people over there to Ghana and
Yeah.
made them drink the Flavorade. It wasn't Kool-Aid, it was
Kool-Aid.
Flavorade. And you had the Jim Jones. You had the Father Divines. Matter of fact, the church right here at our corner, the Church for All People, with Daddy Grace, the man with his name, they call him Sweet Daddy. That was his name, Sweet Daddy Grace. And they have the man that was just bishop, he died. He was huge too. I see why he
Oh.
died. He was big. Like they used to take him on a chariot around the church and just get money. People would put stacks of money in his hand. Nobody say that. Then when we look at, okay, back then, those white preachers that used to come around in them tent revivals purposely came after us
Yeah.
because they knew where the money was, first of all. And they knew that our extreme belief in Christ and in Jesus
Yep.
and giving would
Mm-hmm.
make us give that money. That's why we were
Yep.
so
Take
easily
advantage.
tricked.
Yeah.
They would take advantage of us.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Popoff get it all the time. And he's still shaking and rolling. Offer you some spring water. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I tried, I almost wanted to call him last month, like Peter Popoff. Like, I need a little help. But he'll give you some spring water. But that's the kind of stuff that catches our attention because at 7 o'clock, I mean, excuse me, about 5 o'clock in the morning, you hear, I got $20,000
Yeah.
in the bank. And you
Yeah.
sitting there like, I need that. Let me send this little $50 in and get this little spring water and do what Peter Popoff tell me to do.
Yeah. I
Reverend
remember those.
Ike led with that. Now, granted, it's a lot of his teachings I absolutely do follow and agree with. But we talking about a black man from Germany with a
Okay.
slick back Tony in front of multiple Rolls Royces.
Come on, slick back, Tony.
I mean, it was slick too. It was slick to the side. Tony from the Temptation, when he got that Tony hairstyle, he had a slick back Tony.
Whew.
And just imagine this man
Yeah.
coming in and telling you can't lose what I use and talk about nothing but money, nothing but everything was money, money, money. And
Yeah.
how it made the church like, okay, wait, he's the devil because he's talking about money, but I'm gonna keep you in fear of heaven and hell to keep you here.
Okay.
So you're not chasing money because you're so worried about your soul going to
Yep.
hell, which and
Exactly.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And like that guy that was on our show, that minister, and I said, show me in the Bible where there's a scripture to say you're going to hell or heaven. And he
Yeah.
could not. You could chat GPT it right now. There's not one scripture. So they kept them in a level of bondage mentally. White people captured them in a level of bondage to bring them out on a prosperity moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that people are able to give more and do more, then I ain't giving that nothing. I'm not getting, okay, that's you. That's absolutely you. But I might not go pay $200 for a pair of Jordans, but you will. So to each his own. And again, people, I am not defending anybody. I'm giving my thought from my perspective, from my own experiences and my own research. But when them people with Jim Jones, that white man, I thought he did have a good heart in the beginning, but they switched real quick. But he knew them people was gonna follow him because he gave them hope. Then he made them live together in one compound, sell everything they got to be this family, and then pack up and leave from your family to go to Africa, and then make you drink Kool-Aid. First of all, what kind of Kool-Aid was it? Because you ain't gonna get me to drink the nasty stuff, and it better been sweetened.
Mm-mm. We learned our
But
lesson then.
we learned our lesson because it's like, dude, you had me thinking that this is the end. The guy in Waco, Texas,
Yeah.
everybody, and they even got a Mexican cult. They got white cowboy hats, and they wear all white. He says he's Jesus.
Mm.
So it's not just a black thing or a white thing. It's a thing, but it's bigger with us because we are hypocrites, and we will go to a white church and give But if they have a name, we'll go to TD Jakes Church.
Yeah.
And when Women Die
All
Loose
the
was
time.
out, because I went
Yeah.
to Women
Me
Die
too.
Loose. How much that thing cost? Now it was a lot of money back then, and you got to buy books, and you buying the set. It was
A
a
whole
lot.
rollout. That's what they
A
call
whole
a
week in
modern day
Atlanta.
funnel.
Exactly. That was a
It's a
funnel.
money train. Yeah.
And you giving and you vowing to give 10,000,
Yeah.
vowing to give that. And he
They
ain't put
buy
you on
into those
stage.
beliefs.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
ain't put you on stage. And then I'm gonna go out on another limb
Mm-hmm.
because this thing done struck a nerve with me.
Ooh.
I absolutely love and adore Bishop Carton Pearson.
Okay.
But when he was doing Azusa,
Yeah.
everybody and their mama was on his stage. But the first time he said something they didn't agree to,
Yeah.
black people, it was a couple of whites in
They
there
went for the
too, because
mountains.
they
Yeah.
ran it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you go with what's the flow because at the end of the day, all of y'all had the microphone in y'all hand because I watched the Azusa.
Yeah.
I wanted to be up there. I wanted to sing with y'all. I wanted to be there. But as soon as that man said something y'all didn't like, which was the truth,
Yeah. But that typically happens. And that's
right?
generally how it happens too.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's like you can't be one way or the other. That's the issue. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And then you quick to say, "Well, my mama went to church. What I got to do with you?"
Yeah.
Quit
Well, that
dropping
brings up
names. Go ahead.
that brings up a good point. And I was going to ask you that. Do you feel like when women are more likely to give
Oh,
and give their last versus men? So
they
is
will
it a
give
gender?
everything.
Okay, I agree.
It's
I would
it's
agree with that.
definitely women are more prominent in church than men are anyway.
Yeah.
We're drawn off that emotion.
Yeah.
Typically, if a man is in church, it's because his wife either made him go there or he is a religious man that
Uh-huh.
is, in the faith and things like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's a woman.
Yeah. And she's gonna give, yeah,
She's gonna give.
her
I've
last.
been
Yeah.
around when I was an armor bearer for Prophetess Darcel Cole. She has transitioned. Love her with everything. I was her armor bearer at some age 15, I think 20, no 19 or something like that. I was her armor bearer. It was women out there that when we traveled and she would preach and minister, they would go get, and I ain't gonna call them the men of God names out, but it's a couple of y'all. Matter of fact, I might just call one of y'all out. That it was a woman. I remember when she put the apartment in her name for you so that you can move to Florida. And then after she moved to Florida, she caught you with somebody else. And it's a
Mm,
very well known person in
mm,
these streets. And it's a
okay.
couple of more I know because we was all in the same circle.
Yeah.
You may not remember me because I was a little kid, but I remember you.
Ooh.
And when that woman found out you wasn't gonna marry her and she tried to get that apartment back, you went off on her and she disappeared. Now I don't know if you took her out, but all I know is she didn't come back.
Yeah. Well, let's say this. If we get 10,000 likes on any of our platforms,
I'll drop
you'll
a name
still
in 2 seconds
there we go. Y'all
because
heard
I
it.
know it's true, and
Yep.
it is not
And we
no
got receipts.
allege. I seen it with my own eyes. I was physically there, and it ain't slander or defamation.
Run it up. 10,000 likes.
I
Any
was
platform.
there. But women would get, and these men would come to Jacksonville, Florida. Just want to throw that out. I
Yeah.
want you to know where I'm going at. Y'all them men would come and preach and hold these revivals, and
Uh-huh.
these women would fall for them and cars and taking care of these men. And I'm sitting there like, you don't even know if this man got a running from
Yeah.
running, and one of them was.
Yeah.
That's a whole
It's
nother
crazy.
one.
That's
Don't
crazy.
play because I'll bring your ass out too. I'm telling you, Florida opened up my eyes as a
Yeah.
young child. I saw so much first firsthand, like I'm sitting in the room with you while it's happening.
Yeah.
And women would, oh
I believe you.
man, it was
I believe
sad.
you.
And that one time I had a boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, I had that one boyfriend. We had two kisses,
Yeah,
and
way in the
and
back.
you still right, you still love, you're still a beautiful man.
Uh-huh.
But him and his pastor were single men
Uh-huh.
coming to Florida to preach. Now they didn't do anything, but they would come to Florida and preach and stuff like that. And Kevin, that was my ex fiance, 6 feet 4, 308 pounds. He was beautiful. He was Indian, Mexican, and black mix. Had these beautiful eyes. So when you
Oh,
saw this big man come in, and his bishop that he was traveling with would come in, they're preaching. That's attractive to a lot of people.
yes, it
You
is.
They can sing. That's attractive to a lot of people. They
The
can
power, yeah.
prophesy. They can lay hands. And Kevin was a musician. I was a musician. That's how we kind of end up intermingling, because he on the keyboard, I'm on the keyboard. Then if I'm on the keyboard, he on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just battling back and forth. Musicians making laugh
Yep.
with each other. And then he
Yep.
just fell for your girl. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Well, you the
Right.
feeling.
I can't listen. I can't help it. But and the thing is, when you look at the audience, it was nothing but women, packed to capacity with
Yeah.
females.
Yeah.
Some on with they thigh in them quartet groups. Oh my God, they get the thigh out too.
Oh man. Not loose thighs in church.
Come on, loose thighs at church. But then the crazy part is, when church was over, they're coming. Oh, you just such. I enjoyed you so much, man of God. And when he see me get up the beeline to the door,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta go, I gotta go. And them women was hating because I didn't have to say nothing. You see me heading to this door.
Yeah.
So that, sir, that mean come on too.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was a trick. Them women, yo, if I give you a name, you gonna know
Hey,
exactly. You gonna know.
run them likes up, man. 10,000. But let me ask you this. So
Hmm.
even though we understand that that is a thing, it's an unspoken thing
Yeah.
that women flock to church, especially
Hmm.
when there is a male presence in the
Right.
pulpit. And now, what if the male person or the guest speaker, the guest bishop, what if they're single?
Then
Is
he
it
gonna sleep
still
with
turned up?
somebody. Oh,
Oh,
he gonna sleep with somebody before he leave. If
okay,
he's not a true person of God.
okay,
Now, it was some. Okay, so let me back up.
okay,
It was a preacher. He's passed away.
okay.
His name was Nathan Simmons. Oh my God, he was an awesome man of God. Now I don't know if that this time he was single when he was doing the most of the traveling,
Hmm.
but he ain't go home with nobody. He would beeline. He was before service was out. He was gone, and he was well respected because he didn't get caught up in nothing.
Right,
And I'm gonna explain
right.
that, if I could, real quick. She put Jezebel's spirit. It's
Yep.
actually Jezebel was actually a queen, and everybody, she ruled with manipulation, intimidation, and isolation. And she dominated her husband Ahab. And therefore he was a weakened king. That's why it felt like she took over. She didn't wear makeup, because I was taught that she had red lipstick and she
Uh-huh.
was enticing, and she wasn't. Now there was a house of Diana there that was a whorehouse.
Okay.
And this is all in the Bible if anybody want to go read it. There was a house of Diana, which was a whorehouse. And did she have maidens in there? Yes. So she was almost like a little pimp.
Okay.
However, she wasn't. She would kill you if you ain't do what she asked you to do. She scared people about in the way that she seduced them, it wasn't in a sexual manner. She
Ah,
seduced them through intimidation and domination, because like she did with prophet Elijah, she said, you killed my prophets, by tomorrow morning you're going to be dead. And that nigga ran. And the Bible said he hid up under the tree and cried out to God, and God gave him food for 40 days and told him to rest so he can get back out there. She scared the life out of him. But that's what she would do. And just like when Ahab came back and said, hey, I want this property, and he told me no. And she said, oh, he told you no? Bet. Let me go on out here. If you don't give my husband that property, you dead in the morning. The husband had the property. That's how she ruled. And
yeah.
then at the end, when Ahab died and all of that stuff, um, she painted her face. This is where we get the whole paint face thing. She
Okay.
painted her face to disguise herself because King David was in town. and she yelled out something obscene to him, and he said, "Throw her down." And when they threw her out the window, the prophet said that when she hit the ground, that she was going to be eaten by dogs, and the only thing was going to be left was the palm of her hands. And that is what was manifested in that day, is
Okay.
that somebody threw her out the window, she ended up falling to the ground, and they ate her up. Anyway, but that's Jezebel. um but I forgot where I was at because I got off on Jezebel.
So we were talking about the single men who, uh,
Right.
if they're still, if they're still single, and then you were mentioning a pastor, or a
Nathan
bishop,
Simmons.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was
He would
faithful to the
leave.
cross. Yeah.
He, even if he messed up, you never heard of it. And
Okay.
that was a good thing, because then that would make you trust him.
Yeah.
He didn't have that reputation. Like when he finished ministering, beelined out, you seen the car leaving. And as an armor bearer, that was my job to with Prophetess Cole and Pastor Lathers and those two that are armor bearer, is to make sure that nobody came in your room, because it was women, and I ain't gonna call y'all name either, but it was women that used to try to push through the door past me to get to her.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that spiritually, the the feeling you get having sex is the same feeling you get when you're preaching and ministering.
Mm,
It's literally the same. It's the same endorphins that come out. So your body feels. That's why a lot of people fall to sexual sins, because their body is saying, "I want to hump," even though you just got through preaching. It's the same hormones and endorphins.
interesting.
So a lot of people fail to it. And if you didn't have somebody that protected you, people would be there. And then some of them had somebody waiting in the back for them anyway.
Okay.
There was some
Interesting
whores in
also.
the church.
Yeah. Well,
I know it's a lot.
well, that's very interesting. So the next question I want to ask or kind of get into is, let's say, for example, um, women ministers, do they
Hmm.
have the same effect within the church community or atmosphere, that in terms of people after them or people who are interested beyond professional or getting the word? What's your
Yes.
take on that or your experience with that?
From my personal experience, it's always been other women and gay men.
Oh, really? I'm
Yes.
surprised at that.
I really didn't see too many straight men.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot of goddaughterish,
Okay.
and I'm gonna throw that out there. They had a
Goddaughter.
lot of goddaughters back
Okay.
then. That
Okay.
was a
That's a
thing.
hint to somebody. I don't know who we're talking to. They might be in the
Right.
back somewhere.
Yeah. There's a lot of goddaughters. And they had these, and if you could sing. And so like when it came down to the gay men didn't want to deal with the gayness. So they hid behind the
Ah.
woman preacher. They
Uh-huh.
hid behind the one that could sing really well. Like
Okay.
you wonder why LaShawn Pace Rose, God bless her soul, how many gay husbands she had? And you know why? Because
Oh.
it was the gift. They loved that gift, but you could not sustain something that you really didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
So you hurt these people because these are bigger women that can sing, and you want that, but you can't really want it because you don't, it ain't your type.
Yeah.
And it happens, so I can call out several that had that experience.
Mm.
And again, I was there. And then with the women, it's typically the older ones. And I ain't gonna call names, but I'm gonna use people as examples. Like the Albertina Walker age range. Those women always had the younger goddaughters.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there like, so you ain't gonna never get married? You just gonna.
Oh, she had some technical difficulties there while she get back online. So I've never experienced that. I've heard and I've heard rumors that people out here after, the ministers, uh oh, I don't know if she's got issues in her connection, but or maybe hopefully it's not me. Can you guys still hear me? All right. But so yeah, I that was not my experience. That's not something that I saw. Um Generally when I would go to church, we most of my life or adulthood, we had a male pastor. And very few instances did we have a female person, whether it was a visitor, guest, or what have you. But that's just not been my experience. So I have not seen or heard of those kinds of things happening. I do, or I am aware of, especially people who are entertainers within the church community, them hooking up, things of that nature, or being lustful, those kinds of things, but never to the sense, or to the tune that you're mentioning. um I'm sorry, you got cut off there. I didn't know if you were finished your thought.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So I just switched over to the thing.
Okay.
No, but I was saying just from experience,
Yeah.
firsthand, and I swear to God, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. But again, a lot of women pastors, and it was some of them people on American Gangsters. It was that little documentary. It was some women pastors that was manipulating women and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Oh
it's
wow.
like they don't it's a mess and it's hurtful because you get women in there that are broken and they need a mother or they looking for something and they manipulate these young women and turn them out and then make them feel that you made me sin so you going to hell. Like, wait, and I've seen that. It was this one man pastor, he actually did it. It was he had a little young guy and he made the guy perform
Oh.
a friendly gesture and
Okay.
then made him get on his knees to repent for making him sin. Yeah, it was that was a lot.
Yeah. No, that's crazy even in itself. I, I would say, listen, we've talked about church hurt so many times on this platform.
That's a church
Uh,
hurt.
we have to do our own homework in terms of who we decide to um, visit in terms of church or from the religious aspect. And we also have to do our own homework in terms of studying the Bible, and
Right.
studying the Word for ourselves. So we're always going to encourage you to do that. In terms of the $20 that what is it, Bishop Sapp
Marvin Sapp. Yeah.
asked from his congregation. Again, we just wanted to put things in perspective, in that he wasn't making or forcing the members to stay
Yeah.
in the church. He was just simply asking for them to close the church door so that people who were trying to leave to go on with their day or
Interrupt.
whatever,
Yeah.
right, to interrupt those people who did want to give and make their way to the front so that they could give.
But
Um,
let me say this: how many
sure.
people paid more than $20 to go to his concert?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm pretty sure he sung. I'm pretty sure he gave y'all a show. The man can preach,
Yeah,
and I don't know his financial standing, but
right.
I'm pretty sure he had a nice sizable life insurance when his wife died.
Yeah,
The man made albums. I'm pretty sure he has his own church. So it's almost like, don't get me wrong. We wasn't there, but it was $20, people.
yeah,
Maybe if it was 1,000, I'd be rocking. If it was 500, I'd be rocking with you right now.
yeah,
It was $20. That's all he asked. $20. And y'all done paid more to go. What he used to sing in Commission? Was that the group he sung in? With Fred Hammond them?
I don't
I
know
think
what
it
the
was
name of the
that
group
group.
was.
Well, he sung with the Fred Hammond, and I think that's the name of the group. I could be
Okay.
wrong. But how many women been out there and bought tickets?
Yeah, yeah. More than $20. I've never been to a concert that was not $20 or less than $20. Let me say that.
Unless you went to Netta and Charles concert when they
Listen, we
sung
ain't
for the
even.
kids the other day.
They in their own mess. I don't know what they doing. But no, you're absolutely right. They got their own thing going. And again, I don't think he could have delivered, like we said, he could have
Yeah,
delivered it in a different way,
added some
so that it didn't.
context.
Yeah, absolutely, and so that it didn't come across in a way where he was keeping those people hostage.
Right.
'Cause I would have been a very upset too. Now, had I maybe some of those people needed to go to work. I don't know. It could have been any number of things, right?
Hmm.
But you can't close the door and tell me I can't leave, and then
Right.
on top of that, ask me for $20. You don't know if I got $20 or not.
You say, and on top of that, now,
Yeah,
what if he gave you a little piece of pound cake and a little fried chicken afterwards? You would have been okay.
I need more than a church plate.
Them big fat green beans.
Okay, listen, I'll take 2 pieces of cake though. I for sure will.
Like, give me that pound cake. I want lemon and I want regular. That thing was heavy.
And one of them Fago drinks, I'll take it. But yeah,
Listen,
you're not gonna hold me hostage, and you're not gonna force me to give you
yeah, it
$20
came off wrong. He could
for
have
sure.
worded it. And I think too, again, I don't remember seeing a couple of sentences before. I don't remember seeing a couple of sentences afterwards. So it's almost like we don't really know the full conversation. He could have said, "We're about to take up
True.
offering. If you could just hold on for leaving." And then when people started walking out, close the doors.
Yeah,
We don't know. All I'm saying is it was only $20.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it was, only 20. But I wish him the best. And church has come a long way.
Yeah.
I think both of us are women of faith.
Yes.
And with that being said, we found our own position with God as well as the church. So
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that may offend some may not offend us, because I'm gonna just brag on us. We're a little bit more mature than that, and
Yeah.
it doesn't affect us in that manner. Like, you can sit there and preach on gay people, and I'm gonna still sit there, because if they hit that note that I like, I'm gonna dance too. I'm gonna hit a Twinkie on you.
Uh-huh.
But some people couldn't stand it. But I don't want nobody to miss out on a family, because church could be family for some, a
Absolutely. Mine's
safe
it.
haven, or increase in your faith. Remember the young lady, the masculine identifying young lady that went up there for prayer, and they
Yeah.
kind of used that as a viral moment.
Yeah, I
You're
remember
just
that.
adding to a hurt experience. But
Mm-hmm.
we can do better. But there are some good churches. There are
Mm-hmm.
some extremely good pastors. I
Yeah.
know one here right in Maryland, Bishop Coates, wonderful. And it is a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
So if you physically want to be somewhere, he's a safe haven.
Absolutely.
And he's actually doing stuff. If they raising money for something, they do, like during the winter, they open up the church with cots and food and stuff for homeless people. They're always partnering with the city. So if you see a church doing that, it's only $20, folks. That's part of the building fund. And if
Yeah.
y'all would have gave to the building fund back then Whitney Houston and she wouldn't have messed around with the angel of Denzel Washington when the church kept breaking down. If y'all would have gave y'all building fund. What was that
Listen.
movie? I can't even think of the name of that movie.
Uh with a building fund? It
You
was
remember the church boiler kept breaking
yes.
down?
Uh
They had to go get a loan.
the preacher's wife. That's
Yeah.
preacher's
See,
wife.
she wouldn't have messed with that angel if
Yeah.
y'all would have gave to the building fund.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, they didn't really show or demonstrate whether they actually did
Them hearts
make
was
any.
entwined.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're absolutely right. And I also want to mention another church if you guys are interested or in the Memphis area, close by, what have you. The Cathedral Church of Memphis, excuse me, the Cathedral Church of Praise Church of Memphis is also a safe haven as well.
Mhm.
And but you're absolutely right. Again, we say this all the time. We have to do our own homework, our own research.
Yeah.
I've heard many stories about church hurt, and it is going to exist. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and they're going to have to answer for that at some point. But
Now,
Man, let
don't
me.
get sick on me. We got some partying to do.
No, no, no. Something went down the wrong throat. I mean, the wrong way. But
Absolutely. But yeah, that's some safe havens. And Bishop Coach Church is Fresh Start. And it's here in Glen Burnie. And if you know a good church, put it
drop
in.
it in the
Now,
comments.
if you put it in and I research it, I just may say something to take it out. Because what we ain't gonna do is put somebody in a whole ball of mess. Like that
Yeah,
girl had to get up in front of the people and say she's sorry for getting pregnant. We
yeah,
ain't doing that.
yeah. I always wonder, and sometimes I wish we could follow up with these people. We had a bigger staff, or when we get a bigger staff, let me say that.
Right.
We could
Just keep
follow
that
up with
thing.
some of these stories that we've talked about on this
Mhm.
platform in terms of how things turned out for that young lady. I know immediately after it went viral, she didn't necessarily want to have a lot of conversations because she's, dealing with the things that she had in front of her, which I
Right.
understand, right? You don't ask to be public, and when something like that goes viral, then you're not quite sure how to handle it, how to process things, and how to manage things at all. So, but it is what it is. We'll continue to pray for her and everybody else. Anything else you want to leave off with before we let these kind folks go?
No, I know I talked a lot because y'all know when I love the church, but at the end of the day, like Keisha said, do your research.
Yeah,
Church is not bad, but find your level of faith. If it's Buddhism, we support you. If it's the Nation of Islam, we support you. Just make sure that you're connected so that you're feeling complete. And I
absolutely.
think, especially for Black people, having some level of spirituality connection is a completeness of us because that's just naturally part of us.
Yeah,
So no matter where you go, God, love, and money will always exist.
absolutely. As
Okay.
always, keep a regal mindset, and we will see you guys next week at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you guys then also.
And we might be going live in May because we're on Friday. We may be doing our own on site, give y'all a little snippet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I love it. All right. Till next time, y'all.